Hello everyone and welcome to Mark Knoll Horsemanship. Here we are with Raider. Raider is a 3-year-old quarter type horse. He's not registered. I believe Raider's got, I can't put my finger on it, what he's got in him, but I will one day. I kind of sometimes want to say a little bit of Arab, and then I want to say also Morgan, so I don't know. I just know that he's a nice horse, and I thoroughly have basically, I ain't gonna say fell in love with him, but I like him a lot. The owner that brought him to me is a fine feller, and I'm not just saying that because he'll be watching, but I also took a high liking to him as well. So when he sees this, I just wanted to tell you that. And he also reminds me of my Uncle Johnny that passed away several years ago. They just look alike, and somewhat some of their mannerisms and their features and things remind me of each other. So anyway, the day that the owner that called me to work with this horse came, it's been about a week ago now, I told him when he walked up, I said, if you ever decided you wanted to sell old Raider, I sure would like to have him. And it was kind of funny because he said, and I don't think he'll mind me telling this, he said, well, I've been praying about what to do because he said, I really don't need such a young green horse. And he said, I've had horses my whole life, but just don't really need a young green horse like this. So he said, I've been praying about what to do. And he said, I think there's the answer. So I guess the long of it is I'm trying to find him a pretty broke, gentle horse that he can just kind of get on and ride whenever he wants to, and that'll be safe around his family, his granddaughter, and things like that. And as soon as I sell one, I've got to sell one of my own first. I guess I'm going to be the owner of Raider here. So I'm awful excited about him. He's a nice horse. He's green. He's not mean. He's not ugly as far as his attitude goes, but he is green. But I wanted to show him to y'all today, and also give I'm still going to call him his owner because I don't really own him yet. So I'm going to show the owner of where I'm at with him. And if he changes his mind about keeping him, there won't be any hard feelings. I can guarantee you that. So, but we're leaning towards me and my wife being able to purchase it. So leaning towards it. Like I said, if things change, I'm a big boy. I've had my plans changed before. It won't be no big deal. But I'll just get started with Raider here. Like I said, he was green when he came. He had been ridden some, but he's just green. And I'm just riding him around in basically a rope hackamore that I'll get on him here in a minute after I saddle him. I just wanted to move him around for y'all briefly, without a saddle so you can kind of see him. And also I wanted to say, just be some good teaching right here, some good advice is when he came, I couldn't hardly stand to be around him. I just smelled something that was the awfulest smell that I could never describe. It was the awfulest smell ever. And I couldn't quite figure it out. And one day, the second day of being around him, I was like, man, what is that smell? And I leaned under him and I saw some pus coming from his scrotum, where his testicles used to be. Well, I did some researching and called the girl that the owner bought him from and found out that a month before she sold him to him, he had been castrated, and this owner has owned him a couple months now. So he basically was castrated a little over 3 months ago, which that should have healed up, but evidently I had my vet look at him and he's okay. He's on an antibiotic, but evidently he just didn't heal up, the way he should. So I just encourage you to take a peek at them if you get them castrated. And usually they're outside and running around, they're fine. And this horse was, and the owner was looking at him, and seeing him, but, things slip by all of us. I know I've made plenty of mistakes in the past, and I just wanted to kind of throw that out there for anybody that may be thinking about having their colt castrated. Just really keep a close eye on them. Some vets will go ahead and put them on an antibiotic just to kind of dot the I and cross the T. Some vets don't. And but now he is on an antibiotic, and he's got about 2 weeks of it left. And the smell's getting better. I've been tempted to take something and spray under there to kind of mask the smell when I'm around him, but I think I'll just kind of get used to it. It's starting to get a little bit weaker. So, and another thing, when he came, he was a little bit cresty. This is not what you would call a stud neck. I know he's not a stud now, but it ain't been long since he was. But that's not necessarily a big stud neck. That crest right there, he was out on quite a bit of grass, and I know the owner won't mind me talking about this. I'm just trying to educate other people. I'm not putting him down or whatever, and I hope he don't take it that way. But I'm just trying to educate other people on grass. Unless you have a brood mare that's got a foal pulling from them, or if you've got an older horse that is hard to keep weight on, your typical good healthy horse, they don't need a whole lot of grass. He was on his way to foundering, this horse was, when they start getting that big thick crest like his. Now it's gotten softer. You can't see by the video, but when I first got him, it was hard as a brick. I mean, it was really hard through here, and it was a little more profound, but it's starting to whittle away, starting to get softer. So we're getting all that protein of that grass out of him. And generally speaking, like I just said, unless you're really using a horse, doing cowboy work on them, or staying pretty hot and heavy on the trails and climbing mountains, and being out on them 6 and 7 hours at a time, 4 or 5 times a week, yeah, you probably want to supplement them with a little something, but maybe let them have a little bit of grass. But just leaving a horse out on grass that you're not using and that is in pretty good order, health-wise and young, it's not the best for it. So I just encourage you to keep your eye on your horses on this spring grass. So, anywho, so we'll get started with him here and move him around. Just going to show y'all where I'm at with him and just get started. So you know me, I always start off with some groundwork and just get him moving those feet, get him loosened up a little bit. He's been in the stall since yesterday evening about this time. So we'll just get him moving around here, get him loosened up. Now when I change directions with him here, I really like to put a little energy in there. Every now and then I'll stop him slow and let him think a minute and go the other way, but with him, I've been trying to get him a little snappier about moving, and he's a little bit lethargic. That's a fancy word or a nicer word for lazy, and I don't mind the lazy horse. I can always speed one up. It's those that you always got to worry about slowing down that always kind of worry me. So, but the ones that you gotta kind of not bang on them, but get them moving a little bit. I don't mind them. So right here, we're just going to get him going the other direction, and get him using the thinking side of his brain. So this man here, just a quick, he cracks me up. The fella that owns him, he's a diehard Los Angeles Raiders fan, and he really likes Los Angeles Raiders, and he bought this horse. And, what a perfect situation, with the Los Angeles Raiders being part of their colors are black, and plus he named this horse Raider, and like I said, feller, I ain't gonna say his name. I try not to say names on this site, but I'll call him feller. Hey feller, like I said, buddy, if you were to change your mind, I wouldn't be mad at you. I would miss the opportunity to possibly own old Raider here, but I wouldn't be mad at you, but we'll just see what happens. I think I can find you a pretty good horse, maybe even find you a black one, who knows. Get a little bit of that spunkiness out of him here. I'm gonna get ready to saddle him. I'll move him around with the saddle, and then I'm just gonna put a rope, rig up a rope hackamore to ride him in today and ride him around a little bit. So right there, got him moving around some, and gonna just come in here and get him saddled. I like to move him around sometimes before I saddle them. It helps their feet to stand still better. If you move them around, get a little bit of that energy off of them, you know, and plus it's just a better, you know, more of an opportunity to work with them. So, don't know what this brand is right here. I have no idea. Of course, it kind of looks like a spur, but at the same time, I really don't know. It's probably, of course, a personal brand that whoever bought him or bought him originally, you know, put that on him. But the owner that brought him to me, he don't know, and I don't either. So it's a mystery brand. So if anybody knows what it is, they can sure enough leave me a comment if they've seen one like it before or know anything about it. So it'd be awful. It'd just be kind of neat to know. Now, y'all all seen my videos before, and you know, I don't tie horses to saddle them. I figure if a horse can't stand here in the middle and be saddled, you know, I need to work on him a little bit. He needs to learn patience and be disciplined. So I just put him right here in the middle, and some of them I'll even leave if I trust them more, I'll even leave the rope laying on the ground. But with him and a few others, until I get to know them and they are more adapted to my program, I will keep that rope across my elbow, just so I can correct them if I need to. So once a horse's head goes down like that, they're usually going to walk off. So what I try to do is if I do have them standing here loose, I'll just kind of, you know, I won't kick them, but I'll kind of bump the bottom of their chin right there and keep their head up. Because again, I'll repeat that. If they're standing here, once the head goes down, they're usually going to walk off. So that's a pre-signal for you. The horse don't know he's giving you a pre-signal, but that's a pre-signal for you if you start to do this. Now right there, when he's walking off, what he's doing is he's anticipating the girth. They all do it. I haven't seen a horse yet that jumps up and down with joy thinking about the girth being tight on. So right here, I'll just correct him for that and send him right back in his tracks here. Now he didn't walk off at first when I first got him. You might say, well, sounds like you're messing him up. No, I'm actually going back and fixing it, because I would say more than likely he's never been gave the opportunity to walk around. You might say, well, Mark, you know, why are you shouldn't you not give a horse an opportunity to walk around? Well, they're not going to ever learn unless they, make a mistake. So I always set it up to where they possibly can make a mistake, and that way I can correct them. And that's just the way I like to do it. I would like to imagine that I lived in a place that did not have any trees. You know, there's a lot of these ranches and stuff out in different parts of the country other than here that, like, you know, some parts of Texas and places like that, they don't have any trees. You know, they're just out in the open. So it ain't like they can, if they're out on the ranch doing ranch work, it ain't like they got their horse trailer out there that they can tie to, or a tree. You know, them horses has got to be hobbled, learn to be hobbled and stand there. So that kind of debunks all these negative comments I get about horses being hobbled. If you really knew what you was talking about, if you really understood that that there's a time and a place, and it's an art of getting a horse to where you need it to be for your environment. You know, there's all kinds of different styles, there's all kinds of different ways, and the reason why there's so many styles and different ways is got a lot to do with the environment that those people live in. You know, the Great Basin boys, they got a whole different you know, way of doing things as opposed to the boys in Texas. You know, the Montana and up north people, the boys, they've got a different way of doing things. And if you study it and look at it, it's got a lot to do with their environment most of the time. Not always, not everything, but a lot of it does. So I just try to set a horse up, and it's just fun to do it. I don't have to. I've got plenty of trees around here that I could tie to, but I like to really set things up as a challenge for me and the horse for communication. I really like to make sure that this horse is connected to me and that his mind's on me and not on leaving. So, and as far as hobbles goes, there's not a thing in the world, if it's done correctly, wrong with starting a horse or breaking a horse to hobbles. It can be one of the most handiest tools and features that you can have with your horse. And those that don't like it or you know, give it a thumbs down, they really just don't understand what they're talking about, because when you use a horse as a tool, basically, like a pickup truck, you know. I've got a brother that he delivers campers, and you know, his pickup truck is his living. I mean, he don't just have a dually truck to have one. He actually uses it. He pulls campers and he delivers campers across country. The horse was a cowboy's tool. It's what they needed. And if you're out there all by yourself, or even with others, and you don't teach your horse to hobble, and you wake up the next day and you don't have any means of transportation because it's run off or it's gone, then you might be bear scat by the end of the day. I mean, you know, a man on foot's pretty vulnerable. So, you know, you always got to think outside the box before you start judging about what somebody's doing. But I'll shut up and get to work. Would you like me to do that, Bailey?
Sure.
Okay. Bailey's videoing for me today. Jessie Ann's standing there beside her. Can you show your sister? There's the sister. Say hi.
Hi.
And we're just going to get started here. I admit it, I talk a lot, but hey, y'all ain't got nothing else to do or you wouldn't be watching me anyway. So let's get this old horse moving around. Might seem have a little spunk in him with the saddle, but probably not very much. I'm really going to try to start moving right along with old Raider here in the next week or so. I'm not in a hurry, even if the guy that brought him to me says he wants to keep him. I'm still not in a hurry with him. I mean, he's right where he needs to be. Trying to get him back in shape again from being a little bit obese, like we just talked. So, not really in a big hurry. Now, I tell you what I did do, and I'll gladly admit it that it was my fault. But the first time I really worked him, I tied him up. You might say, well, what's that mean, Mark? That means that he hadn't been used to being worked, and he was a little bit out of shape, and I tied him up. I had him in here, and I don't mean I tied him to the wall. I tied his muscles up, and I didn't work him that hard though. So I'm telling you this for educational reasons. These horses that are on this spring grass and you hadn't ridden them for a while, don't just get on them and go to working them. I made that mistake with him. I knew better, but I wanted to get him working. I wanted to get him started, and I didn't work him that hard. That's my point. You sometimes don't have to do a lot. And I lunged him around for, 5 minutes one day, and then I noticed he started getting real choppy behind, real short-strided, and next thing you know, he just come to the middle and wouldn't move. So I was thinking it had something to do with where he was castrated and his scrotum and all that, but it didn't. I called my vet, and he kind of chuckled. I love my veterinarian, and he kind of chuckled. He said, "Don't sound like to me it's got anything to do with his scrotum as much as you've tied him up, you know." And so I give him a little Banamine and in the vein and waited a few hours, and he ended up being all right. But I'm just telling you that so you'll know for yourself. Get these things in a little bit better order. If they've been out on that grass, it's not good for them just to go straight to work. You might even take them off the grass. If you ain't no hurry, if you ain't got nothing, pending on getting them going, you may even take them off the grass for a week or two, and then start lunging them around. Kind of let that grass, let them poop it all out, so to speak, and then put them on some good, clean, dry hay, and then start working. So I'll send Raider out right here at a pretty good rate. Yeehaw! Let him get them poops and giggles out right there. And don't mind him feeling good. That wasn't bucking with the saddle or anything. He's just feeling good. I like it myself. I say, yeehaw! I'm glad you're feeling good. So just don't do that with me on you. And he hasn't so far. He's been a pretty good character to be around. So we're going to put some more energy in here and get this grass right here. We'll stop him. And when you see him wanting to stop and hang out like he just did, that means, in my opinion, from my years of doing it, that means he's starting to kind of wind down a little bit. Now, if you're training the horse for a certain thing that they need, more energy to do, he's kind of cross-firing right there, and that'll be okay. But if you're training the horse, you might want to, and if you trust your skills, you might want to leave a little bit of this energy in him. But I'm not training him for anything specific, so I'm going to get a little bit out so he can concentrate a little bit better on me before I get up there and go to riding. But I do a lot of direction changing, and it seems to kind of whittle them down a little bit more, a little bit quicker than just sending them around in a bunch of mindless circles. Kind of get them using their body, using their feet, starting to learn to be able to collect up. I don't think he was ever taught it. From what I can see riding him, I think whoever started him did a good job, but I think he was just taught pretty much just how to ride, and that's fine. You can teach a horse, the point of me bringing that up is you can teach a horse to use their body in the way that you would riding them. You can teach them on the ground by doing them little rollbacks like I was just doing. Now, like right here, he's just getting a little bit confused. I just want him to walk and settle down a little bit, and kind of lower that heart rate down just a little bit before I get up there on him. And but you can start teaching a horse some moves, if you will, on the ground before you ever climb up there. It kind of just lets them know they can do it. I just want him to drop over right here, walk around in here like right there. Now, just drop over and walk. That's where I like to get them before I get on. You still in good shape, babe?
Yep.
All right. We won't be too much longer. I'm gonna step over here and get me a good, pretty good little halter to use here, and get up here and get to riding. I'm going to show y'all how to make a quick little rope hackamore here, real fast. I really like it. I've got a loping hackamore that me and my buddy Dylan Engel tried to work on a little bit, and I haven't had a chance to work on it myself, but I just don't really like I don't like the way it operates. It sits on their nose. So I've just kind of started using a rope halter and making a little hackamore out of it instead of worrying about getting my rope or my loping hackamore better adapted for what I need. But we might work on it eventually. I wish Dylan, my buddy in Idaho, I wished he was a little closer and me and him could figure this stuff out together. I know sometimes I need all the help I can get. We're going to drop it down on his nose there a little lower than normal. And then we'll, hey sis, you want to come get my halter for me? My little assistants here. They can climb right through them fences. All right, so what I like to do is just flip that over there and make a continuous rain out of it. And if Bailey can kind of zoom in here, I like to go in between these, you got your halter knot right here. I like to go in between them and draw up the amount of slack that I need. Make you a nice little set of reins. And then I like to come around once, and if I can, twice, but this is not going to allow me to come around twice. And then just tie that in a little deal right here and pull that slack right out of it right there. And makes a nice little deal. You most definitely want to keep a check on it as you're going to make sure it don't pull out, which I don't think that will. But it makes a nice little set of reins. It may not look the best, you know, but we're just here at the barn. We're not in a show. And then you got you a nice little, I like the way it tightens up on the nose. You can kind of bump that nose around there like that right there. And make, like I said, a little hackamore out of it. And these hackamores, when you use them this way, you do bump with them. They work, they respond to it a whole lot better if you use bumps. Now, if you go to put a snaffle bit in their mouth, the snaffle bit works a little better with a pull, a steady pull. But with these rope hackamores, just a halter made into a hackamore, they do a little bit better with bumps. So we'll just get on him here, and he tries to be a bad butt. Now he might just buck me from the moon. I don't know, to the moon. But we're going to get on him here and try to get him a little bit better, going a little bit better here. He's green as grass. He's got a little hump in his back here, but we're going to go ahead and start bumping that nose around and kind of getting his attention here. And all that head stuff will quit here in a minute. I don't pay a whole lot of attention to it. Just going to bump him around in here, kind of get him using himself right here. Kind of bump right there, bump right there, bump right there, and just kind of getting his attention here a little bit. Say, hey, if you want to waller that old head around, I'll give you something to waller it around about. So just going to bump him right here. Bump to my hip. Bump right there. Now we'll just walk him out here. Just let him walk around in here and carry me around a few minutes. He's going to be a pretty good old horse. Now, when I got on him right there, you noticed I chose to start working his nose just a little bit. That wasn't just for, like, to get him soft, although it's working on that too. But I was also letting him know, if he has a little bit of hump in his back there, sometimes you can talk these things out of, sometimes you can talk them out of what they want to do. So, but you got to read them. You got to learn how to read them like a book, so to speak, and catch them before they get started. So right here, I can tell already he's going to make me work pretty hard about getting his feet moving. But we're going to go ahead and get him trotting around in here. He needs something different already. Other than this ring, but I'll get him out in a day or two. I'll put in my big ring and start working him. I'm eventually gonna put a snaffle bit in his mouth and see what he's like there. But right now we're just getting to know him, just getting to ride him around. Here's some. Right there he kind of wanted to get a little bit humpy with me right there. So I'm just letting him know, hey, I don't appreciate that. Just kind of get him in trouble right here a minute. Tell him you don't need to be acting like it. So just ride him around in here. Just get him freed up. I really like old Raider. I'm turning right here. Get him moving them feet. Turn him right here on this fence. That's a little bit better. Kind of get him just moving out. Get him moving out. We'll drive him into this one. That side he struggles a little bit. He'll get better. Loosen up on him. Go for a ride. Just loosen up on him. Trust him. Just trust him. Drive him into this one. You get them blowing like that, you're getting them working. We'll drive him into this one. Drive him into this turn. There we go. I just let him wind down to a walk. Felt good. Felt real good. So learn how to start reading these horses if you're going to do this for a living like me. Now, he don't get to quit when he wants to. That's why I got a little snarly there. Learn how to read these horses because you can talk them. You can talk them out of a lot of stuff before they ever get started. If you know what to do. We'll get my little handy dandy little riding quirt here, just because I'm going to start working on some circles here, and he really needs to step up and put a little try into it. And that keeps me from having to kick around on him so hard. I'm just wanting him to really work on keeping his nose bent. Let me explain something to you. You can't train a horse without forward motion. You can't train a horse how to walk. I'm gonna really drive him around in there just like that until he wants to get soft. I'll switch hands with my quirt. Do the same thing on this side. Draw this nose around right here and really get him. I won't use my quirt unless he makes me, but really get him coming around in here. Right there, you can make me use it and just get him soft. There you go. He's making me bump quite a bit. There we go. Get him to really step over with that hind quarter. That's what I like about it. Now he's wanting to comply. Right here we need him to really step up a little bit. Get this horse soft. There we go. Right there. Come out of there. Go into the next direction. Should be to my left. You're a little bit better this way. That don't mean we don't work on it. You do it in equal doses. You see him cranking that jaw. It's good for him. It's good for him to learn that pressure on their nose like this. Learn how to get soft. It could be your bump. It could be your life. Ask him to really get soft today. I don't think this is ever explained well enough. I think we try to make it look so pretty all the time and so finesseful when really sometimes you got to get in here and, like I was just doing, making them lips flop a little bit. You could hear him kind of like I do with the girls. You want me to do it with my cheeks, girls?
Sure.
Can you do it, sis? But anyway, you could hear his old cheeks flopping, which told me his mouth was good and loose. He wasn't all tensed up and tight. But point of me bringing that up is sometimes it's made to look so finesseful, and nobody really shows the wrongness of what you kind of need to be doing, and that's really getting in here and getting that softness, just like right there. Even though this is his offside, so to speak, I don't just say, oh, well, you poor thing, you can't do it. I do keep in mind that he's a little off that way, but I have taken horses that were off a certain direction and made them better. So just because they're off don't mean that you can't get them better. So I don't know if you noticed right there, I noticed little things, but when I picked up on my reins and asked him to step out, he was a whole lot more snappier about it. Like right there, I like that. I like it that he's saying, yes sir. So I just want to get this softness working. Now I'm going to work on getting that hind quarter around, and I may have to tap it around. Use my foot and my quirt and just tap that rear end around a little bit, right there. Same way this way. Tap that rear end around. Teach him to use himself, to get off of that, to disengage that hind quarter. So then I'll just check him out. I think we did enough what you call cardio with him. So now I'm just going to walk around and I'm going to kind of teach him how to start getting a feel to it a little bit. A lot of people don't understand that terminology. Just start asking him to get in a feel, like asking him to flex over with that nose a little bit. Now this right here may not work as good today. I think I need to think about putting a spur on him, not for abuse. I'm going to hold him right here and ask him to get a little bit more feel to him than what he's got right there. He got a little bit more feel to him. But I may slip a spur on in the next day or two just to mean it, just to mean it a little bit. I think he's been chastised and thumped on with bare heels for so long that it means nothing to him. You've if you don't watch, you kind of desensitize him to your legs. So if a horse don't need a spur, I don't ride him with one. But if they need a little bit of encourager, I don't mind to put one on. So I may do that with him. But I'm just going to ask him to come off of this just a little bit. I'm going to hold off on trying to get some feel out of him at a walk like this, because I need a little bit of a, right there, I need to frame him up with my hands, and it's hard to frame them up when you're always having to quirt them or kick them. So I'm going to wait and get a little bit of an encourager on my heel to where I can kind of chastise him with my spur a little bit and keep him moving. At the same time, get a little feel to this coat. He's a nice coat, but he just don't have no feel to it. You know, he don't have no softness right there. But we won't indulge into that too much today. So I just wanted to introduce y'all to Raider. Hope you enjoyed that. And, you know, just pray that me and the guy that brought him to me, we both that we do God's will. I think I like to try to stay in God's will as much as I can. And just pray that help us pray that this is the way that he wants us to go. And I believe it is, but feller that brought the horse to me, I appreciate you so much. And come by and see me anytime, and we'll be talking to you soon. And thank you all for watching. And I appreciate you, and God bless you.